All right. Hey, everyone. We've had some people ask us how we build these powerful voice AI tools. And today I'm pulling back the curtain and showing you some free secrets on how we do it. In today's example, we're going to be building a tool for GoHighLevel. It's a CRM. Maybe you've got a location inside of GoHighLevel or you have an agency. But the big deal here is this. Instead of using a webhook, we're actually going to be using something called Buildship, which is like make.com to build you an API endpoint. Now, this video is going to be packed with value, especially if you're an agency owner looking to automate with voice AI. But I'll also show you why building these tools from scratch can be a massive headache and how we can save you from all that pain. Now, let's dive in. First thing, before we begin, you'll need to know what options are available and what tools and values are needed. For this, we're inside of GHL API v2, documentation for updating contacts. And this is the tool we're going to be building. Here we see the method, which is put, the URL, the requirements, the required header, version, and everything else. So next, let's talk about the basics of connecting to GHL with voice AI. There are two basic ways of connecting. Number one is something called OAuth, which is way too complex for this video. And option number two is something called PIT, or Private Integration Token, which is what we'll be using here. To create your PIT token, you'll need to go into GHL, then go down to Settings, go to Private Integrations, and then Create New Integration. Name it whatever you want, hit Next, and then we're going to add the scope. And in this case, we are editing names, so let's click Edit Contacts. You can always add more to the scope later. Then you're going to hit create. Now make sure not to forget that copy this code when it pops up because it doesn't pop up again. And if you fail to do so, you're going to have to recreate it. Now to build a tool, we're going to use a platform here, in this case, Buildship, to create an API endpoint and workflow. To start, just go and create an account, start a new flow, define the inputs. But by doing that, we're actually going to do it dynamically. So we're going to click this button right here, and that's going to bring up a page that looks a lot like this. We're going to pick the name, and these are all going to be blank right here, so it doesn't matter my face is blocking it. We're going to copy this button right here once we decide what we're going to name it. Then we're going to go into your voice tool. In this case, I have an example here, and we're going to go hit Tools, Create New Tool, Custom, and I already have it built right here. But it looks a lot like this right here. So we have the URL that we just copied and pasted, a very simple tool description, and a unique ID. And then we're going to need the first name, last name, contact ID, and PIT token. So you saw in the documentation on GHL's website that we needed this, this, and this. But then we also need an authentication token. So what we're actually doing here is we're bringing the PIT token in here, and we're going to push it in as an authentication bearer token later inside of Buildship. So just copy what you see here. Then once you're done with those settings, go ahead, hit save, add the tool to the assistant, close out of this box, and then save the assistant. Then what we need to do is test the assistant. We need to make sure that the tool we built is actually connected. So make sure you hit ship inside of Buildship. And then here, we're going to actually call the tool that I just created, that has the tool I just created. And it's going to fail, but we're going to still test it out.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, can you use the tool update contact first and last to change my last name to Liechtenstein?
Your last?
All right, so shouldn't have worked, but let's go and look at it. Let's go into Buildship. And then we're going to click this button right here. Then on the right side of the screen, we're going to click Get Data. And it might take a little while, but once it loads, you're going to see body, and then you're going to see args, and you're going to click each one of these individually. And you're going to scroll down and click Add 4 Inputs to Schema. And here you go. The 4 inputs are added, but for some reason, Buildship always does something goofy on the first time you ever do a call, and it saves what you sent on that first call for all future calls, and we don't want that. So we're going to hit Build over here. We're going to go into each one of these, and we're going to take the value that was set. You see Liechtenstein. We're going to remove that. It's not a sensitive field. Everything else is correct. We're going to hit save. Now we have to do that for all of those. Now I've already gone ahead and done the next step, but I'm going to still walk you through it. You see, I have another node right here. And to do this, we're just going to hit the little plus button right here, click API call node. And then we're basically going to follow what we saw inside of GHL's documentation. Remember, the method was put. So over here, we're going to change that method to put. URL, same thing. Now you saw this right here, variable contact ID. How we do that here is we have this set it to text. We'll put the rest of that URL in, and then we go to variables. And remember, we just set a contact ID over the phone. Now, as a quick note, if the system you're using doesn't have the contact ID available, you will have to run a tool call beforehand to obtain the contact ID. So this example, this tutorial is assuming you already have the contact ID available. So we're going to click that and it automatically generates. Authorization, same thing. We're going to go through inputs, PIT token. So you see how this is the authorization that GHL had requested, authorization. Then we're going to go to the body. And this is really particular. If you mess up anywhere here, it will break everything. So we're going to do open curly brace, close curly brace. And inside of it, we're going to have first name inside of double quotes. Then we're going to do the same thing we did for PIT and the other tool, which was pick the inputs, first name. Do the same thing for last name. Now, one quick note here. See that comma right there? It can only be after first name, and it needs to be after first name. If that's not there, or it's also under last name, it will fail. So there's one more thing, and no one ever really shows you this, so I hope you're really paying attention. You click this button right here. And what we need to do is set the version type. So everything right here highlighted in blue, add that comma, space, add that version and that date. That is the version that's required or it will fail. Now back inside of Buildship, we're going to hit save. Well, I've already done it, so I'm just going to hit cancel. And now we have everything and it should be working. So we're going to go ahead, hit ship changes, update. Then I'm going to come into my account and I'm going to call, and let's see if we can change my first and last name over the call.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, can you change my name to Johnny Venture?
Your name has been updated to John.
All right, refreshing. There you go, Johnny Venture. It works. All right, we got it to work, but that came with a lot of experience. And building just one tool can take quite a while, especially if you don't do it every day. You've got to dig through documentation and find the exact fields and formats to get one tiny detail wrong, like a version number or capitalization, and it fails. Then you test it over and over, make sure it works with your voice AI platform. If you have multiple locations or clients, you're repeating this process for each one, managing separate endpoints and tokens and debugging every failure. And don't forget that it actually costs you something. Platforms like Buildship and Make do charge hosting fees for workflows and usage costs for API calls. And you're bleeding money before you even see results. This isn't just time consuming. The biggest problem here, get this, it's a distraction from growing your agency. Instead of closing deals or serving clients, you're stuck playing developer. Now that said, if you're passionate about building tools and want to become an expert, go for it. There's a ton to learn and it can be really rewarding. But if that's not you and you're ready to skip the headaches and make real progress where someone handles everything from development, hosting, maintenance, and updates for those tools so you don't have to, then go ahead and click the link in the description. Let us run the tools so you can run your business. Got questions or want to share your experience building tools? Drop it in the comment below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next tool. In the next video. Wow, obviously I've been doing this too long.